The rhythms of the earth, the changing of the seasons, bring shifts in all of us. In spring and in summer, we shift into a time of rebirth and new beginnings, of warmth, of sunshine, of excitement. Autumn brings a different excitement as the leaves change, painting a picture of various hues. Once the leaves have fallen and the trees are bare and the earth pulls us into the darker half of the year, the transition can be hard. The long, dark hours shift us in a way that can lead to low moods and in some cases seasonal depression. This video will hopefully help you to ease into and embrace the colder months. This is too hot to drink right now, so I'm gonna set that aside. As the seasons change, the leaves fall off the trees and we lose that beautiful warmth and ambiance of the new autumn season as fall turns into winter and we inch closer and closer to the darkest night of the year. I wanted to create and share a video about how to ease into the season. And if you're anything like me and you struggle with a bit of winter blues or seasonal depression or just feel gloom during these darker, colder months, then I wanted to share some ways to welcome in the new season and create a cozier and more beautiful atmosphere and to lean into that feeling of darkness and learn how to rest and receive this winter. A disclaimer that I am not a health professional, and while there are many ways that you can go about doing supplements or herbs or other things to help your body with this wintering transition, any deficiencies that may arise, that's not what this video is going to be focusing on. This video will focus on rituals and practices and things that you can do to warm up your heart and your soul. I used to be somebody that really despised the winter. I like December, of course. There's the excitement of Christmas and usually the first snow of the season. But after that, I dreaded it. I have a November birthday and I've always hated Novembers because they are cold and dreary, and at least where I live in Indiana, all of the leaves have fallen off the trees and you lose the beauty of all of it. I used to stick my feet in the ground, metaphorically, and just wish for spring to come. I love spring. Spring's my favorite season. But over the past year, I've learned how to live in tune, or more in tune than I used to, with the changing seasons, and that every part of the year is beautiful in its own unique way. Now, that doesn't mean that I prefer the winter over the summer these days. I'm definitely still a spring and summer girly, but I have learned to love the winter as well. And I hope that this video will help you to learn to love winter also, or at least to embrace the cold a little bit more. So as we turn into this time of coldness outside, it calls us to shift inwards. Metaphorically, winter is a time to shift inwards. And as it's cold outside, we look to make our homes and our lives feel a little bit warmer. And that led me to this term, which I have been mispronouncing for so long because I just looked it up, and it is not hygge like I thought it was, it's hygge. And it is this Danish concept of a feeling of coziness and contentment that comes from enjoying life's simple pleasures. And I feel like that is just exactly what I want this YouTube channel to be. My channel is about embracing the seasons of life and living in this slow and intentional way that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to quit your job or move to the countryside or whatever other ideas you might have in your mind about slow, intentional living. It just means, how can we bring rituals into our everyday lives to have contentment and coziness and enjoy life's simple pleasures? So this idea of hygge, and I'm still probably pronouncing it somewhat wrong, and abundance and pleasure and enjoyment and fulfillment is really what is at the core of this channel. and how we can remedy the chaos of our modern Western world and the hustle and the bustle that comes with the holiday seasons, even though nature is calling us to slow down and to rest. How can we remedy that with intentional living and rituals and enjoying the simple moments in a day-to-day life? And that leads me to my first point when it comes to wintering and creating coziness and comfort in your life. Create literal coziness and comfort in your living space. You could do some decor. I'm not one to, I love decor, but I'm not one to go rush to Home Goods or wherever you might go to buy all of the decor for each season. It could be simple as putting up a picture that you get from Goodwill. I love thrifting, so a picture frame that you print out at home or wherever that may be, and putting up some vintage Christmas pictures, or going outside. And my daughter and I have started this tradition that we just started in the fall of a nature table, of bringing in the outdoor elements inside to just honor the changing of the seasons. And a piece of advice that I have with creating comfort and when it comes to decorating for the seasons is to not overwhelm yourself with consumption, to not feel like you have to keep up with the trends, and to be very thoughtful in your curation of, okay, do I just like this because it's trendy right now? I always like to do self-check-ins, right? Even when it comes to shopping or buying something, I like to take a second and just still myself, because sometimes there can be this gentle tug of anxiety when it comes to shopping, right? That's why we have this term retail therapy. Just check in with my body and, okay, is this something that I actually want? Is this something that has multiple purposes? Well, if it doesn't, will I like this for a long time? Do I think I might like this for a long time? Would I like this? This is a good one. Would I like this if nobody else liked it? And if the answer is yes, then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna get it and we'll go home. This could be even incorporating something like, oh, it's not too hot, it's still pretty hot. Like a favorite mug or a favorite sweater. This is such a basic sweater that I thrifted, but it's my favorite one and I wear it often. It makes you feel cozy. If you have a fireplace, sitting by the fire, reading by candlelight. This is another great idea because one, if you're doing this at night, right, you have candlelight. I prefer beeswax candles. Reading by candlelight will, one, get rid of the blue light before you go to bed, which will allow you to go deeper into sleep and feel more rested when you wake up. And two, just reading by the candlelight is like so cozy and comforting, and I don't know, just makes me feel like I'm like in a novel or in an old movie or something like that. Another aspect of comfort and coziness outside of what you're just seeing is what you're nourishing your body with. So cook home cooked, nourishing meals for yourself and for your loved ones. I'm learning to love to eat seasonally. I'm definitely not a person yet who only gets things locally or from the farmer's market or whatever, but I am learning that there are certain foods that I crave more during the winter versus the summer. I'm trying to lean into eating more seasonal foods, even though in the winter technically not really a whole lot is in season, but foods that feel nourishing in the winter. A lot more soups, a lot more things that are gonna go in the oven and just warm up my body and nourish my body. I've been prioritizing a lot of protein and bone broth, hot cacaos with homemade marshmallows, which if you told me 2 years ago, like if I'd heard myself saying that, I'd be like, what are you talking about? But just creating nourishing and cozy comfort foods. Tea is another one of those. I'm gonna keep bringing my tea out. I have drank like 4 or 5 cups of tea, non-caffeinated, every single day for the past like 2 weeks, and it has been so comforting. I love to add cinnamon to a lot of my different teas, and I'll add one of those homemade maple marshmallows to it as well, and it is chef's kiss, so good. So as I was going through and editing this video, I realized that the whole concept of wintering and of creating comfort and coziness in your life during this time can really boil down to appealing to your five senses, right? Your sight, taste, touch, hearing. Sight, taste, touch, hearing, smell, right? Appealing to the five senses. So we already talked about creating comfort and coziness when it comes to your sight, right? What you're seeing, what you're putting up, the winter decor that you might put up. We've talked about touch and wearing clothes that make you feel comfortable and clothes that make you feel warm. Really, when it comes to appealing to the five senses or the sense of touch during the winter time, that's really creating warmth for yourself. So what you're wearing, putting on fuzzy socks, putting on a scarf, a hat, whatever it may be that's going to physically keep your body warm. Taste and smell kind of go together here, right? Because while you're creating these comfort foods, cooking these comfort foods, you're smelling them as well, right? So for me, taste, I do a lot of teas. So I like to go to my local herb store and I will ask them what their recommendation is for teas, or I will add cinnamon to everything. Maybe you add cinnamon, you add nutmeg. Fall and winter are kind of similar, although I will get deeper, I guess, to my taste. I'm not the best at describing like actual nodes of taste, but deeper is what I use to describe it. Perfume, I don't use perfume, I use oils, but, or oil perfumey type things. But I'm not using the same scent right now that I would use in the spring and the summertime. That's like a more floral scent. I will use a certain one during the winter time, and I'll use different ones throughout the year as well, but specifically specifying things from summer and spring to fall and winter, and especially having those things that I savor for winter time. And then listening. I am a very seasonal music person, and I don't necessarily mean that in like Christmas music. For myself, along with many other people, music is something that takes me back to a certain time, a certain place, a certain phase in my life, right? And that appeals to the seasons as well. For the longest time, I would not listen to the Lumineers outside of fall, strictly for fall, until I saw them in concert, and they had an album I think that came out in the springtime, and so I'll listen to that during the spring and summertime, but most of their music I will only listen to in the fall time because it triggers that sense of fall for me. And the same goes with winter. I will only listen to certain songs in the summer. I'm not going to listen to my summer songs in the winter, although there are some songs that are across seasons, I guess. But I have certain playlists that I only listen to in the winter time. Holiday music being one, but that I found a few on Spotify. I'm a Spotify girl. That are like winter but not Christmas. And I can link those down below. They're not ones that I've created. They're ones that I just found on Spotify looking for winter playlists that just bring that whimsy and excitement of winter into the space. This can look different for you than it does for me. Just appeal to those five senses, what you see, what you feel, what you taste, what you smell, and what you hear. Appeal to your senses, and I really think that will help your body to be in the winter season. My next tip for remedying, I don't even know if that's a word, winter blues, is to get outside. And I know that it's butt frickin' cold outside, but there's science out there somewhere, I don't know, that getting outside for just 30 minutes a day can change your entire mood. So bundle up. It doesn't have to be cute. Put on all of the layers and just go outside for 30 minutes. Go on a walk. If you can get out into nature, that is definitely a better way to do it. But even if you're just walking in your neighborhood, or if you live in a city and you're walking, that also helps. The cold, actually, I think being out in the cold for a little bit at a time, another one of those things that I've just heard, can help us in our immune systems and boost our immune systems, which sounds counterproductive, but it works. And add in some hot chocolate or tea afterwards. Really get that coziness going. So after you're out in the cold, bundled up of course, come inside and like enjoy a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of hot tea. It's like when you're a kid, you know, and you go outside and you have a snow day and you spend all day outside and you come inside and your mom or your dad or whoever had a cup of hot cocoa for you and you just sat and you watched a movie or did whatever. That was always the best feeling. And I think that recreating those fun things that we did as children is always a great way to show up into our lives intentionally. My number one piece of advice, number 3, is to slow down. Embrace and prioritize rest. That is literally what Mother Earth, Mother Nature, is calling us to do in the winter time. And in our modern day society, we just push that calling, that urge to slow down to the side for the hustle and the bustle of the holiday season or of New Year's resolutions, when really we are a part of nature. In the same way that animals hibernate, we have to slow down and rest, just like the rest of the earth does this time of year. And with this idea of having longer nights, right, we are called to sleep more. So rest can take many different forms. Rest can literally be laying your head on your pillow or wherever and sleeping. And winter absolutely calls for sleeping longer. That's why our nights are longer, right? To call us to sleep more, to get into that hibernation, our human form of hibernation. But also that means that you can take more naps if you want to. If that's what rest looks like for you. Or rest could be sitting down and reading a book. Or rest could be turning off your mind entirely and enjoying the present moment with your friends or your family or your children. Any way that it may look to you. Listen to your body. Ask what it needs. And I guarantee that in this season of winter, that it wants you to rest. Today's a sunny day outside. It was freezing last week in true Indiana fashion. It was in like the teens last week, and this week it is in like the 40s and 50s. So naturally my body wants to go spend more time outside. So that's what I've been doing. And then I've been coming in and indoors and resting, and both can exist at the same time. But really slow down and take the time to ask your body what it needs. Our bodies are always telling us what they need. We just forgot how to listen. And again, you could take that approach of either just tune in with your body, or literally, I do this sometimes, ask it, what do you need from me right now? And wait a minute, or it might come up with a response immediately. You probably know already what your body needs. You just have to actually rest into that and listen to it. Our bodies don't function the same in the winter as they do in the summer, in the same way that a woman's body doesn't function the same when she's on her period versus when she's ovulating, right? We have these seasons that our body is designed to ebb and flow with. So lean into that. Don't expect your energy right now to be what it is at the height of summer or vice versa. Allow yourself to flow with the seasons. And overall, just keep cozy in mind during this season. Don't be afraid to ask yourself, how can I be more cozy right now? Like, I had jeans on earlier and I thought to myself, how can I be more cozy right now? And so I just slipped on my favorite little lounge pants and I was a little chilly, so I threw on a scarf inside. How can I be more cozy right now? Maybe it's changing the way you're sitting, maybe it's leaning back, maybe it's taking a nap, maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's just changing your clothes or making a cup of tea or coffee or hot chocolate or whatever. That answer is to only be answered by you. And my last bit of advice is to not isolate yourself. While winter is this time of rest and turning inwards, don't isolate yourself from the rest of the world. Yes, your energy may be lower. Yes, you may not want to go out after like 7 or 8 p.m. because it's so dark outside and it feels like it's 2 in the morning. But call a friend, FaceTime a friend, listen to music, have a coffee date on a Saturday morning. Have a friend you don't want to leave, have your friends come over to you. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Just hang out, talk like you're teenagers and you don't care what each other's houses look like. Because none of us really care that much. You can use winter as a time to turn inward. As it's darker outside for longer, that darkness really does draw us inward to reflect on who we are in the year that has taken place, and to start to dream of a new year come spring, to start implementing those things. I'll make another seasonal video of welcoming the spring in when that season comes, but for now, I hope that you are able to curate some coziness and to allow yourself to really slow down and be intentional in your rituals and your day-to-day life. And pretty soon I'll make a video on my different rituals, both in the morning and in the evening during the winter, because those look different than they do in the summer. And I hope you just give yourself grace and allow yourself to rest this winter.